Hey everyone, Alex Corey here with cultivatedchange.com. We're back with an arm workout. I was going to have this be the final video in our home beginner workout series. It was going to include shoulders as well, but there's too many exercises just for the shoulder, and it'll be long enough just covering the major exercises with the biceps and triceps. The biomechanics of each are pretty simple, so we're going to go over just the main heavy hitting exercises you can start with if you've never picked up a band or a weight. And then I'm going to include a couple exercises for each that hit the major functions of that muscle, bicep and tricep, and then ones you can easily add weight quickly to, since those muscles are easy to connect with. Most people feel them pretty quickly, so you can progress very quickly. Biceps, we're going to start with a band curl just to get that connection going. We'll go into a standing wall supinated curl to bring a little shoulder external rotation and supination in. We'll go with a close grip dumbbell curl to get the inside head of the bicep, and we'll finish for the intermediate group with 21s, and I'll explain that when we get there. Triceps are usually a little more complicated because they involve the shoulder a little more and the chest tries to jump in. So we're going to start with a band push down to teach the activation and get the mind muscle connection with that 3 different muscle group going. We'll move into dips, which is going to be one of your most overloaded and core exercises for the tricep. A couple variations of that. And we will end with just a tricep extension, since it's very easy to overload, and you can either go for high endurance or start stacking weight on it. Let's get started. So we're not going to do any heavy warm-ups for this, just because nothing puts your joints at major risk. Obviously do a warm-up. If you're going to do anything for an arm specific day, I would do some shoulder mobility, since that's the only at-risk joint that's going to be involved. Low back never hurts, and you do want to be limber, but it's not as critical. We're not going to put a massive amount of strain on a low back or a knee or anything. Shoulders will definitely be involved, but there's not going to be a ton of pressure on them. And we'll go over ways to compensate around that. But our first exercise, so we're just going to jump into for biceps, is going to be a band, just a regular band curl. So you're going to put this is our single-stranded band that we've been using for the entire series. You can do it with a regular band too, just step inside of it. I just like the single band more. Functions of the bicep, there's 2 muscles in the bicep, which is why it's bicep. There's going to be a short head and a long head. So one here, and once I get going, you might be able to see them split apart. Inside one here, outside one here. There's another one, brachialis, that runs along this and makes that peak contraction higher. We'll deal with that later. But the bicep does 3 major motions, 2 really important ones, and a third one that's useful. But all the bicep does is a single joint. It just does this. So it does elbow, the only joint in question, flexion. Shoulder flexion is also involved, so your shoulder moves up a little bit. So think pull up, or chin up rather. So your shoulder does come up a little bit, and it's involved in that. So when you get going on a heavy curl, your shoulder will start flexing a little bit. But this motion, so elbow flexion, and it's also forearm supination. So this would be a neutral grip, this is prone grip, this is supinated grip. So just think of the curls where you start here and then you twist and bring it up here. So flexion and supination. So we're going to start with a simple band curl. This is just to get some blood flowing, to get your mind thinking about contracting your bicep. A lot of people will just swing their arms up. Your arm should not be moving. It'll come up a little bit just because your shoulder will flex, but just for a very intense contracted motion, just hold the band, and you can do a neutral grip if you want, but I suggest starting like this just to teach the motion. Elbows tucked onto you. Elbows should not move. And then just squeeze up and together. And again, if you want, you can do neutral and supinate, or just neutral. But for the most contraction to teach, elbows resting on your hip, flexed or extended like this, so this should be fully drawn out, and then just bring them to your shoulder as close as you can. Just like that. You don't need to do a ton of these. The goal is just to get you thinking about where your contraction is, and you'll feel the most resistance right here. So getting up to perpendicular or parallel with the ground, perpendicular with your arm, with your shoulder, this is the heaviest point of contraction. So whenever we're doing exercise in the future, it'll be hardest, easier. So if you can get past that middle sticking point, you're gonna get it. So just do this. Do a good amount of these. Do 15 or so of these just to warm up and get blood flow into that area, and we'll go into the next exercise. Our first real exercise, some weight, and I just have 10s here. 5s are fine too. You can even do this with a band, but this is going to be our real primer. So this is going to be a wall standing supinated curl. So you'll see people doing curls a whole bunch of ways. For the most part, there's 3 variations. Hammer curl, which is a neutral grip. There's a wide curl like this, and there'll be a close grip curl. This is going to be a wide grip supinated. So you're going to get a little external rotation. So you're going to involve your posterior deltoid, and you're going to train that rotator cuff that we were talking about in the back video. So you're going to stand against a wall. You don't have to be perfectly straight up against it. You can lean against it a little bit. Be a little limber, so knees bent a little bit, but you want your shoulders and butt against the wall, so braced. Basically, we're just going to try to avoid, most people compensate by when they get tired, they'll pull the weight up with their back. So this eliminates that because you can't. So weights to your side, gonna have your elbows fully extended, and then as you come up, you want the weights, you're trying to touch the wall with the weights. So they're not going to be here, and they're not an angle. You're trying to turn them like that. And then you can either twist as you go down, it doesn't matter. If you're just learning, I would prefer that you bring the weights back down to your side slowly and keep the angle the same. So forearms facing out. And then when you're here, make sure you're squeezing. So you should be trying to touch your hands to your shoulders and to the wall. So bring them back as much as possible. And you'll feel your shoulders strain a little bit, but your biceps should be straining more. You should feel that contraction right there. And if you want to make sure that your forearms aren't taking all of the weight, you don't need to go down all the way. That's full range of motion. That's good to train. But if you just want to make sure you feel your bicep, just go down just past 90, right there, and do that. That doesn't ever allow your bicep to relax. Keeps blood flow right there. Just make sure you're coming up. So this trains the supinated part. So this muscle right here will be flexing, or I'm sorry, the long head will be flexing. And just do that until your biceps get tired. Depends on the weight you're using. If you're using low weight, make sure you're doing a vicious contraction at the top, and then just 15 or so should be fine. Rest for about 45 seconds, and then do 3 sets of those. You should get a lot of blood in there, so they should feel like they're getting a pump, as they say. And then we'll move on to the first real heavy hitting exercise. Next, we are going to do a close grip dumbbell curl. You don't need 2 dumbbells to do this, and you can do it with a kettlebell or basically anything that you can get your hands under. You can do this with a garden hose. You can do this with like a flat plate. It's a great exercise because you can do it anywhere. This is going to target that inner head of the bicep, the one that I feel the best contraction with. You don't need to do it against the wall, but I'm just standing here. Basically, something you can put your hands under. So you can do it with a garden hose. You can do it with a flat plate, like I said, kettlebell, anything, you're not going to do a full grip. So the point of this is your arms are going to be very close together. So your elbows will be tucked in right about here. You can come forward a little bit, so you don't have to have perfect posture to do this. For a close grip, your elbows are going to be in front of your body a little bit, and there's going to be quite a bit of elbow flexion. But this is a 30, so you want your palms. The key to this is as you come up, keep your palms flat. So start here, and you're going to raise it up and bring it as close to you as you can. Slowly do this. So arms up, feel that contraction, bring it back down and up. What this does is you can't curl it into you. Your forearm kicks in when your wrist bends in like that. So with a regular curl with a barbell or with a dumbbell, if you're just doing this, there's a lot of forearm in there, and you'll feel it, like you see the brachialis going crazy. Doing that, so having your forearm or your wrist bent back, obviously you still use your forearm, but it takes a lot of that out. It doesn't flex nearly as hard. So all the tension goes onto your bicep and shoulder. So again, flat, up, squeeze. Your elbow should not be moving. Pinned against your body, squeeze, down, squeeze, just like that. Now this is gonna get heavy because you have no support from your forearms and your shoulders are taken out of it a lot and your back can't help you. So your biceps will get tired of this pretty quick. This should be a heavier exercise. So picture somewhere between 6 and 15 if you want to go on the heavier side. 6 obviously. 12 to 15 you're going to get more endurance. So you're going to train your bicep to be able to last longer. My sweet spot is somewhere between 8 and 12 reps. Some people go higher, have a better connection, see more growth at like 15 to 30 reps. So it just depends on what you're going for. But again, anything that you can put your palms under like that, and that inside head of your bicep will be on fire after this. And we'll move on to our next exercise. You can do an entire bicep workout with just those, doing 3 sets or 5 sets if you want, about 12 reps each. Biceps don't need a ton of time to rest, so about 45 seconds in between sets is fine. If you haven't gotten enough and you want to torture yourself a little bit, I haven't found any exercise that is a better finisher than this. I never do this at the beginning. You can do an entire workout just with this one exercise, just variations of it because it's so painful. These are 21s, so these are Arnold's old. He popularized these. You can do this however you want. Hammer curl, like this, or close grip. Since we just did close grip for a finisher, I'm going to do a regular grip, so just arms down like this, off to the side a little bit. So these are just going to be normal curls, but you're going to do 7 of each stage of the contraction. So you're going to start with the first half, so from your fully extended position to half, right there, for 7 reps. And then once you get up there for the 7th, you're going to finish off the contraction, come down halfway, finish, halfway, finish. Once you've done 7 of that, you're going to go all the way back down and do 7 full. And those last 3 or 4 full hurt a lot. So we'll just do it quickly, fast forward through this, but the whole thing looks like this. Fight that last one down. Ready? At the end of each, as I'm getting close to the end, just to tear that bicep apart, fight it, resist the eccentric, the lowering of the weight back down. So when you're getting close to the end of your workout, or just if you want to feel a greater burn, just resist as slowly as you can back down, and just feel the bicep tear. And if you do that with, these are 10s and that was getting hard. If you do that with any real weight, 20s, 30s, or barbell with or an easy curl bar, 50 or 60 pounds on it, those get very hard very quickly and you're struggling with the last ones. That's why it's a great finisher. Biceps usually feel like they're gonna explode. We'll get into more complex exercises in the intermediate, but for a beginner, that's more than enough. And let's move on to tricep. We are moving on to triceps, which is the bulk of your upper arm. 2/3 of your upper arm is your tricep. So if you want to increase your visual appeal, tricep is where to focus 2/3 of your energy. Biceps definitely make your arm pop. That's what people notice, but tricep is what will fill out his sleeve, so to speak. So 3 major muscles in your tricep, which is why it's a tricep. There is your medial and lateral head, which are on the inside, and your long head, which is on the outside. Your long head attaches into your shoulder blade, and your medial and your lateral head attach into your shoulder. So different exercises for different muscle groups, but mostly the tricep does 2 major things. One primary, which is elbow extension, so the opposite of the bicep. Bicep does elbow flexion, tricep does elbow extension. So every tricep exercise, your elbow will be doing that. Second thing it does, opposite of the bicep. Bicep does shoulder flexion, tricep does shoulder extension. So bringing the arm behind the back. You get a little bit of this with a back workout too, with that pull down. That'll hit your tricep as well. Anyway, the first priming exercise we're gonna do, although this is a great exercise by itself, is a band push down. This is similar to the back exercise, but our elbows are going to be extended the entire way. So with our trusty band, it's gonna come here. The regular exercise is just this. Just from here, here. So elbow at halfway and all the way down. That flexes your tricep enough. If you want to get a full contraction and feel all of the muscles working, including back there, and to just teach yourself how to engage all of your tricep muscles, you can start with your feet staggered a little bit. Start here. You can start here if you want, but here just so you have a little tension on your tricep, and then rock backwards as you pull the band back. This is just a single band we've been using. So start here. So feel tension. You don't want it super loose. Tension here. Elbows about parallel to the ground. And then pull back and end with your hands behind your back a little bit. So here, and we're just rocking. If you do this, that's fine, but you have to actively contract your glutes and core and brace. This takes a little bit of that out of it because it lets you go with the motion of the band and lets you concentrate on that tricep. Do this for 20 or so reps just to get the blood flow going, and focus on squeezing right here. So you want to feel you're pushing it back and down. So you're trying to push it into the ground behind you, not so much back because that'll be your back. And you don't want to go straight down. You can, that's your tricep. But for a full contraction to get all 3 of those heads in the tricep, try to pull the band towards the back, your back foot, into the ground and down behind you. And you will feel some blood flow start going there. Only need to do this for about 20 reps or so. You can make an entire workout out of just this, but your triceps do appreciate some weight. And this is just to get your triceps used to working, and we're gonna go into a dip. Our first real tricep exercise is going to be the dip. And this is a focal point of all basically upper body pushing movements. So you'll see this done in the gym a ton. Plenty of home exercise machines that'll have dip bars. It's just great for hitting your entire upper body pushing musculature, so that's your shoulders, your chest, and your triceps. We're gonna focus on the triceps a little because you can easily use this in your chest workout if you want, or just solely as a tricep workout. In a chest workout, and I have chairs here just because if you're at home, you'll probably have chairs. Height doesn't matter, you can adjust how much either if you're kneeling or if you're holding yourself up. I have dumbbells here to show you the beginner version of the dip, just so your knees will come down and hit and prevent you from having to hold your entire body weight up. You can just remove those if you're comfortable using your body weight, but dips are hard because you're going to end up holding your entire self up. But you can easily jack the weight up or the amount of reps or difficulty quickly, and it's a great entire pushing musculature building exercise. We're going to do dips. A lot of people will do dips forward. You'll see them leaning down a lot. That's a chest workout, predominantly. Triceps in there too, but anytime you're leaning forward, it turns it into a chest and anterior deltoid workout. We're going to try to stay straight up and down just for shoulder extension. So if you want to put something on the ground to raise you up a little bit so that you're comfortable with lowering yourself down slowly. I enjoy putting my arms back a little bit. So your shoulders, when you do this, should be back. So pretend you're doing a back exercise and put your shoulders back a little bit. We're going to try to hit that long head of the tricep on this as well. So we're going to have to stay straight up and put a lot of the attention back. So just brace yourself like this, and then the key to this is don't let your elbows flare out like this. That'll turn into a shoulder and chest exercise. Keep the elbows tucked pretty close to your body and just lift. So as slow as you want to get the motion, but keep the elbows back, keep your shoulders back, slow up and down, and at the top, squeeze at the top. If you don't need any weights, or if you're not using any assist, feel free to just hold yourself up. Let me kick a dumbbell out. Just cross your legs, slow up and down. And again, try to stay as straight as possible. And if you want to make it even harder, put these behind you. Ignore the sound, sorry. Keep them behind you when you do this. And that'll put a whole bunch of tension right on your tricep because you can't lean forward into the motion since you have to balance with the weights behind you. You can put as big of a stretch on this as you want, meaning the further down you go, the more tricep stretch you'll get and the more shoulder involvement. You can just do this top motion if you're training yourself, but the key is just to keep your shoulders pinned back, focus on as straight up and down as possible when you're learning the motion. Once you've got it, you're comfortable, you can bang out 10 reps, you can start adjusting angles. This is a main exercise for anything, so it's great to learn. For a beginner, I would say 10 reps of that would be good, or 20 if you can, if you're using assist. The more you can train your tricep in that motion, the better. Another thing to note, if you have shoulder injuries, palms forward like this will put a lot of the pressure on the front of your shoulder. As you can see, it likes to lean forward. If you want to turn your hands out a little bit, it opens up your shoulder joint, your glenohumeral socket a little bit. It feels a little different because your hands are to the side and it's not a normal movement. But you'll feel more of the tension right on your tricep. It's a little harder because your front shoulder gets taken out of it, so your tricep's taking all of it. But you can hold yourself up just by holding your foot on the ground. You can hover in midair, whatever you like. 10 reps would be great, 20 reps would be great. You can tie something around your waist to weight it, so it's a weighted dip. If you have a dip bar, even better. Chairs are just fine. I'll put beginner and intermediate reps on the screen, and then we're gonna go into our finisher, which is just a tricep extension with 2 options. For our finishing exercise, all you need is a couch or anything, box table, anything maybe 1.5 feet off the ground or higher. I actually like things that are closer to the ground, and you'll see why. You can get a little flatter and load some weight on your legs if you get that far. But this is just a tricep extension. So the entire premise of this is just to extend the elbow. And this has various degrees of difficulty. And like I said, all you need is couch. The motion is just that. That's all we're doing. You can do this with a dumbbell as well, and I'll show you that after. But I like it on a couch, and I like this as a finisher because your legs can easily assist you if you start getting tired, or when you start getting tired, because this burns. For a beginner, hands forward, or if you have shoulder trouble, hands to the side, whichever you prefer. Shoulders back again. If you're beginning, put your legs at a 90-degree or so angle, just so your body is about half supported, and just lower yourself down slowly, shoulders back. When you press up, try to press your shoulders instead of straight up and arch a little bit. That's just so your long-headed tricep activates because you're trying to push behind yourself. If you push forward, you don't get that. So when you do it, arch, so your hands end up being behind your body a little bit. So down slowly, up, down, up. If you have had tennis elbow or tendinitis anytime in the past, don't go down past 90, so right there would be good. If you want a full stretch on your tricep, you can go pretty far down. That's about as low as I would comfortably do it. And then all the way back up, just for a full range of motion. If you don't have shoulder issues, hands forward is fine. If you want to make it harder, put both your feet up and on your heels, and then same thing. So just less of your body is being supported. If you want to make it harder, cross your legs so only one heel is out, and that gets challenging pretty quickly. 15, 20 of those, and your tricep will be on fire. And you should feel that all the way up the back too. If you only feel it here, make sure you're arching at the top, and you should feel it all the way up the top there. This is the same movement as a tricep extension with dumbbells. I just like it better because you don't have to balance, so it's a little more accessible. So it's the same thing, just brace your core when you do this. These are 10s. And here's your starting point, not here, here, because the whole range of this exercise is just that. Try to control it when you come back down. So push, squeeze, control back down, push, squeeze, control back down. Don't let them swing like that because you're just using momentum. So to focus on the exercise, elbows bent to your sides, shouldn't be flaring, close to your sides, and then just squeeze, control back down, and back. The back motion is where you should focus most of it. Try to hold it there a little bit. And you could, some people find better activation with different angles, so a lot of people will not change the angle of the dumbbell and just do that. Others will flip it back. Whatever you can feel go up the back of your tricep when you do that, whenever you can feel light everything on fire. This is meant to be a high rep finisher, meaning 10 to 20 rather than in the 6 to 12 range. 10 to 20 is, your shoulders, your triceps should be on fire after that. Ton of lactic acid buildup, shaking, any of that. Once you're in the movement, you can quickly go faster or add more weight. 10s or 15s on this is usually plenty because it's not meant to be a 6 rep set. It's meant to be 15 or so, but that's the main ones I have for you. We have one more video to go in this series, and we'll see you there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you found the video of some value. Just a reminder that we are still enrolling for virtual and in-person health coaching and personal training sessions. Virtual all over the country, in person in the Western North Carolina area. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what more or what type of videos you guys would like to see. We have one more on our home beginner workout series. We'll start doing a little more interesting, complex exercises after that, outside, various pieces of equipment, in the gym, whatever you guys would like to see. I'll put my previous video, core I believe, somewhere here, and over here I'll do the chest workout, which pairs well with what we just did. Chest, shoulder, and tricep go inherently well together because they're all using the same movements, and we'll do shoulders for last. Thanks for stopping by.